What is going on, guys? My intro did not fire, but now it will.
We are going for a whole hour, straight dog talk, and the song. Jump on in and speculate. Show up on time, don't be weak and late. We are community, so don't hate, and learn to cooperate.
All right, now we got it working. Sorry about that. Listen, it's Monday, and hey, let's start talking about these upcoming allergies. It's always allergy season if you own a dog. It's all a matter as to what allergens trigger them and or what location you're in. And we're also going to talk about what you can do about it, right? So without further ado, let me bring my guy, Michael Higginson, who is sideways, but let me bring him in. He'll get it. There you go. There you go. Oh, there you go. What's going on, Money Mike?
What's going on, fam?
Hey,
look, allergies
hey,
are something
man.
serious.
I've been seeing all that construction you got going on at Creek Bank Kennels. None but love. Tipping my hat off to you.
Thank you, sir.
But hey, man, we got some construction over here at QBNK too, man.
That's
so
what I'm saying.
We're going to coincide in improving our facilities, as a wise man once said.
Yeah, a wise man once told me here some years back that if you're having litters, and you're moving some dogs, you need to be showing it in your program. You need to be showing it in your facilities. So that's what we're trying to do here. Yep.
I couldn't agree anymore, man. I've always said that you will know the breeder's intentions by the facilities they carry. And it doesn't mean that they have to have a multi-million-dollar facility to have good intentions. What I meant by that is, as their program gets bigger, whatever breeder it is that you're following might start out with 2 or 3 dogs. By the time they got 5, 6 dogs, you should start seeing a kennel area or more of an expansion and so on and so forth. Accommodations for the dogs. That's where I'm going out with that. Nadie's, what's cooking, fam? I'm in New York and already dealing with allergies with my pups. Yeah, we're going to talk about Northeast, Nadie. So I'm glad you brought that up. That's also going to be hitting Ontario, Canada, people up in Maine, New Hampshire, all that area. Dracula, what is going on, man? All the way from the UK. Alberto Ayala, good evening, everyone. What's going on, Alberto? We got Miss Christina Higginson. Man, this is a rare follower. Just rarely does she pop up here and there, right? I'm just kidding. That's his wife. She's always watching. And we got Prater King Bullies. Good evening, Bully fam. What's up, man? Good evening. So check this out, guys. I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys. In fact, let's make it a little fun, man. Let's make it a little fun, because if I just go out and just blur out what this is, it's going to be more of a college course than anything else, right? So let me ask you, Mike. Let's start you out, man. There's a very common, very, very, very common allergen that happens throughout the country during fall. Would you happen to know what that is? If you guess it right, I want you to pick one of the commentators, and I'm going to give them a free spin. So how about that? We're going to do it with spins. Talk to me.
Well, you said in fall, right?
In fall, there's a particular allergen that pops up pretty much throughout the whole nation. What is it?
If you just said spring, I'd have said pollen, but
okay.
In fall. No, I don't know offhand, no.
Okay, so tell you what, because I'm in the giving mood, right? Thanksgiving is right around the corner. I'm going to give you a multiple choice. All right? Multiple choice. All right. So, and guys, if you're watching, I want you to go ahead and be interactive. Tell me what y'all think as well. So, is it 1, tree pollen during fall? Is it 2, grass pollen during fall? Is it 3, weed pollen? Or is it 4, ragweed pollen?
Well, I guess I was right in the beginning about it being something to do with pollen. uh,
Yeah.
well, I'll tell you what. I noticed a couple of my dogs being sensitive to grass right now,
Hmm.
uh, and it's that time of year. So I'm going to go with grass.
You're saying grass. Unfortunately, that's not it. But
Okay.
I will say during the summertime, and in some areas, I don't know if Arkansas is like that, but where I'm at in Texas, I know it's supposed to be fall, but we feel like we're still in summer. I'm talking about we're still hitting some
It,
pretty
it could also be from the grass being dry right now. Maybe it's aggravating them because it's dry.
correct, correct. But that's not the main allergen during fall. That's the main allergen during summer. In fact, it's the main allergen during summer in all of the US's regions: Northeast, Southeast, North Midwest, South Midwest, Northwest, and Southwest. During the summertime, grass pollen is the number one allergen. Let me go to spring before I give you the answer for fall. So in spring, right, the top allergens are actually tree pollen. If you notice, summer is grass. Okay, and we'll get into fall and winter here in a second. But in spring, it's no longer grass. It's actually pollen that's coming from trees that are pollinating. In particular, for the Northeast, those of you, New York, all the way up to Ontario, I believe even Quebec, Northeast, you're looking at birch, elm, and maple. Those are the three trees that are going to pollinate during the springtime in or around your area. Southeast, in particular, is going to be oak and pine. Okay. North Midwest, so we're talking about from North Dakota to around Kansas. I want to say, yeah, around Kansas. You're looking at birch and elm. All right. South Midwest, which is Oklahoma down south of Texas, you're looking at oak and elm as well. Northwest, you're looking at alder and birch. And Southwest, you're looking at oak and walnut. All right. These are the main trees that are going to be pollinating during that time. Now, hold on a second. We got some comments up in here, bro. All right. So, Christina Higginson, we just went through that. Good evening. What's up, man? We got Brayman Bulls. What up? What up? Gyra Grimm. What's going on, fam? Sheena Chante. Love QBN, fam. Theo from BEK. All right, Theo. Hey, I'm glad, Theo, you identified yourself because the picture is a bit misleading, bro. I'm just letting you know, just throwing that out there, man. Just having a little fun with you. Shea Tree says mold. Nadine says nope, it wasn't mold. Not pollen, says Nadine. I know this. And Shea Tree said ragweed. Ragweed is the number one allergen during the fall season for 4 out of the 6 U.S. regions. Let me read them out to you. So, Northeast and Southeast is going to be ragweed right about now. The same as North Midwest and South Midwest. Where it changes is going to be the Northwest and the Southwest, and it's going to be weed pollen. So I guess weed is pollinating in Northwest and Southwest of the country. How do you feel about that, Mike?
Well,
weed is pollinating up here in the Northwest and all the way down here to the Southwest. Weed all over the place, just pollinating.
Weed's doing his thing, I guess. I think it's funny that it does it this time of year. You know, you would think it'd be like spring, but I guess not. I'll tell you what I did notice in my area is my wife's into herbalism and things like that. And so there are some natural herbs in this area that are good for humans to harvest. And one of them is called goldenrod. Goldenrod grows real tall, and it has those big cone-shaped real bright yellow it looks like just straight pollen out on the tips of the plant, and it's
Oh, good
big
evening.
cones of it, and it's good for different health benefits. But anyway, I noticed all that stuff is thriving right now. Like right now is the time to harvest that. So I wonder
Really?
if that falls in the weed category. I know it grows wild, so it would make sense though. I bet it's the same.
It quite possibly could be. You probably would get me there. Right now, man, let me go off real quick to S&J on and off road assistant mud hunters. All right, because this is what they are. And not only that, they're not only mud hunters, they're
Pues claro que sí, cabrón.
new members to the QBNK family, man. Number love, thank you for joining us. You know, we're here every Monday at 8 p. CST. We drop Fridays, guys. I get it. We're putting everything into Mondays, just throwing that out there. Adam Fields, number love, man. Bakari, all the way from Quebec. Miss Shaytree, we got Mr. Theo. So when I see Sheena Chante, it's Mr. Theo. That's my wife. We're both watching from her account. Okay. All right. Mr. and Mrs. Theo. How about that?
My guy just got back from overseas, so he's just now back in the United States. Just getting established.
Absolutely. Thank you for your service, man. Thank you. Nothing but love, man. I understand you were in Germany. I was actually in Germany for about a good 2 weeks in Hamburg. We're not going to talk about how long ago that was, though. Nadine's flora is blooming when they should not be pollinating. Oh, man. Well, let's talk about things that you can do in order to fix this, right? In order to fix certain allergies. Now, let me say something, because sometimes people get things twisted. So let me just keep it real with you guys. First and foremost, I like to do a natural. In fact, let me get my mic here a little closer because it's going to sound a little better. I like to go the holistic route with my animals, with my dogs. Okay. We maintain our dogs. I'm on top of them 24/7 every single day of the week. Okay. This is why I'm able to go with a holistic, natural approach. I personally feel that the holistic, natural approach works best when, one, you're doing it as maintenance, and number two, if it's a mild case of something. Now, I'm not disregarding natural in severe cases of certain things, but in most major things, you may not be able to go holistically. But here's the deal. Before you got to a major skin condition, you had the ability to maintain and nip it in the bud when you had a mild situation in front of you. You see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
If you're maintaining, holistic is the way to go. If it's a mild situation to even moderate, holistic is probably your first line of defense. And at least in my case, it fixes just about everything, but we're always in maintenance mode. We don't ever let anything go past mild mode, right? If you allow it to get to severe mode and then all of a sudden you want to go the holistic route, it may not work out all the time. I'm not saying it won't, but it might just not happen all the time, is what I'm trying to say. All right. So hold on here. We got our first comment by S&J. My bully had the worst allergies. I've seen he is now getting out of the started him on raw ground beef, cucumber, apple, and green beans. That would be a good bone replacement. Also order Nuvet. All right. So look, you order Nuvet. That's a step in the right direction. It should be Nuvet NuJoint DS, but hey, all right, you're going in the right direction. I will tell you down here, you're giving cucumber, which is mostly water and it's great for the skin. You're giving apple, which is mostly air and water and is high in fiber. So far, you're doing pretty good. Green beans, guess what? That's one of my go-tos. You're doing pretty well. Whoa, excuse me just a minute here. Yeah. Yeah. And next up, you're talking about a good bone replacement. So that's why you're going with Nuvet and NuJoint DS. Okay, good. It actually sounds you're doing pretty well. Raw ground beef. This is why you're seeing an immediate improvement in your animal. Why is it? Because your dog is not inflamed. He doesn't have inflammation on the inside, which ends up showing as inflammation on the outside. Okay. This is why so many times when you have a discussion online or you're talking about anything that's got to do with dog allergies or anything like that, people will say their immune system starts in the gut. Okay. And it's kind of right. I won't say it's 100%, but I won't also discard it. What I mean by that is if you're feeding your dogs kibble, okay, just the processing alone, okay, is going to cause your inflammation inside of your dogs. If you add to the processing the cheap fillers that these companies, they are companies. They're not there for your dogs. They make it look like they're there for your dog because they paint it on the bag in order to sell you a product. But we all know corporate America is about making a dollar. And if they could ship chicken from China and save a nickel, they're gonna bring in chicken from China to save a nickel. That's just the way it's gonna roll, right? And so my point is the cheap fillers such as beet pulp, cane pulp. Like, when have you seen a wolf in the wild dig up, oh, I'm going to eat some sugar cane today? It doesn't happen, right?
We talked about it on here a million times.
It's such a
the kibble's the saddest thing, man. It really is. We've got brands that we spice up with other things, but it doesn't matter, man. You look, there's a couple of brands that are okay, but most of them are trash, man. Every time I find a new brand, it's trash too.
Mike, here's the other thing. Let's talk about this, guys. Let's just think this through for just a moment. Now, I understand domesticated dogs are not wolves, okay? It is said in the science world and where I've pretty much picked read articles and whatnot, Colgate University, all these universities that are putting out articles, they're saying that domesticated dogs have 98% of the DNA that a gray wolf has, right? So there's a 2% variance, right? And they've compared it in some articles that I've read, like us to gorillas, okay? So let's think about this for just a minute. Okay. Gray wolves are carnivores and they're opportunistic herbivores. That means is they're going to eat what's inside of the animal. And if that animal, if they caught a rabbit or something and it's eating carrots and lettuce or whatever, that's going in too. But not only that, they will on occasion, if there's a berry that's within eye level or something that they can eat, they may go ahead and eat it, but it doesn't happen all the time. Okay. But when you compare that scenario to sugarcane pulp, so let me get this straight. You got the sugarcane. It's not the sugarcane that just got cut and is filled with juice. No, it's not that. It's the one that's already been processed. The juice has been extracted, all the sugars and everything. What's left over, this really, it looks more like cardboard than anything.
It's the crap that they can't do anything else with.
They're pretty much processing it, making it into sawdust just about, and just adding it to the kibble. And then we want to ask ourselves, think about this. I just told you that in many, many reputable articles, incredible articles, they have stated that the domesticated dog has 98% of the DNA that a gray wolf has. One of the major distinctions in that 2% variance is the domesticated dog's pancreas. Now, we all know pancreas is there to produce insulin, which lowers the blood sugar, yada, 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 right? It is also thought originally that the way that man and dog came about was really a wolf that started following either nomadic tribes or got close enough to a village where they were eating the scraps or whatnot, and then when the villagers went to hunt one day, the wolf happened to kill the deer for them or something. I don't know. They probably hit the deer with the arrow, and the deer went running, and the wolf went and ended up killing them. They got to the deer, they killed it, they chopped up certain pieces, gave it to the wolf, and next thing you know, that's how human interaction began, something to that extent with dogs. The reason I'm saying all this is because ever since then, domesticated dogs' pancreas through human selection. So let me just say this right now. There's a lot of proponents you're going to see out there that are going to talk down about breeders and that people shouldn't be breeding, blah, blah, blah. In reality, if you didn't have breeders, you wouldn't have security dogs. You wouldn't have dogs that herd sheep. You wouldn't have companion breeds such as the American Bully. You wouldn't have toy breeds. If you were to stop all breeding worldwide for the next 200 years, okay, my guess, and my guess could be as wrong or as right as any, okay, my guess is that sooner than later, these dogs are going to slowly transition back to being wolves. Why is that? Well, when I see street dogs, when I've traveled to Latin America, and you see these herds of street dogs that are nothing more than street dogs, some way, somehow, there's always a wolf that finagles his way in there. And you start seeing dogs that are starting to look more and more wolfy. And you're like, how the hell did this happen? Right? Listen, that's just my guess. But my point that I'm trying to make tonight is, whether you like it or not, domesticated dog is 98% wolf. Why are we feeding you sugar cane? Why are we feeding you beet pulp? Why are we feeding you soy? Why are we feeding you
flour?
Wheat flour, and I'll say it on there, wheat flour. In fact, we end up feeding through kibble everything but what the animal naturally eats. Chicken byproducts. What are they? Oh, you want to know what they are? They're the nail clippings, they're feathers, and beak. Guess what? I guarantee you, if you see a gray wolf kill a chicken and eat it, more likely than not, well, he's going to eat everything. But if there's anything that's going to be left over, it'll probably be some feathers, probably the beak, and or nails, if you're lucky. But you're not feeding exclusively just the beak, the nails, and the feather. So what I'm trying to say in essence is all these things together cause inflammation. And we're already seeing on domesticated dogs, they have a bigger pancreas. And that's because us humans, they've been eating a lot of the foods that we've been giving them. I could tell you in Latin America, more than 95% of the population feeds their dogs whatever's left over after dinner. That's what you're going to get. Whether it's pie, whether it's cake, whether it's just bones, whether it's vegetables, whatever, that's what you're going to get. And with time, and also through human selection, their pancreas has been getting bigger. Now, with that being said, when you feed kibble, the levels of sugar in a bag of kibble, think about this for a minute. Go and read the macronutrients. This is not Raul speaking out his ear. Okay. You might see that a bag of kibble says 30% protein. and 20% fat. In fact, I can tell you that's Victor High Pro Plus. It's 30% protein and 20% fat. There's one macronutrient missing. Do you know what that is, Mike? Carbohydrates. So it's protein, fat, carbohydrates. So if we have 30% is protein and 20% is fat, that's how much, Mike? 20 plus 30?
50%.
That's 50%. So where's the other macronutrient and what percentage is it getting? Because typically on the fiber, you're going to get maybe 3%. So you could take away 3% from what's left over, which is carbohydrates.
Then you take some of the weight amount for the moisture they add to it, 13, 10, 13, 15%. That's
no, that you're talking about weight. I'm not talking about weight. I'm talking about nutrition label.
Yeah.
I get exactly what you're saying, and
you're
right.
It throws it off too. The weight throws it off because it's just they're adding water to it.
Yeah, but we're talking about over 45% of most kibble bags are carbohydrates, are essentially sugars. Think about that for a minute. What you're looking at, whether you got a Frenchie, I want you to look at your Frenchie or your Yorkie or your American Bully, Doberman, Rottweiler, Cane Corso, whatever it is. I want you to look at it, look into its eyes, and you're going to notice their eyes are facing forward. Do you know what that means in the animal world? That means they are predators.
Yeah, predator. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what that means. The ones that got the eyes on the sides, that means they're prey. So they got the eyes looking forward. That means they're predators. They are carnivores, opportunistic herbivores. Why is above 45% of your diet sugar? We know the answer. It's the cheapest thing to get as a filler so the company can make a buck. But is that truly helping your dog or creating problems? Now, we're talking about allergies, guys. Don't think I'm going off on something else. We're still talking about allergies. Think about this for a minute. So your dog's bag of kibble is feeding him 47% carbohydrates. And you went from wintertime when your dog wasn't breaking out or anything, and all of a sudden you get a summertime and patches start showing up everywhere. You know, French bulldogs in particular, they're notorious for that. So are American bullies. You'll start seeing little patches all over their fur, missing fur and whatnot. Why do you think this is happening? I'm going to tell you. Yeah, it is nutrition. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to break it down for you guys. So dogs and pigs have something in common. Do you know what that is, Mike? What pigs and dogs have in common?
Is it their stomach?
Nope. You're close, though. I will say that dogs and pigs at one time were the same animal, and obviously they veered in different directions. But pigs and dogs don't sweat. They don't sweat.
That's
they
true,
have glands at the bottom of their paws. That's where they let out their impurities. Okay. This is why it becomes a major issue when summertime comes around and you're feeding your dog these high sugary bags of kibble. Because what ends up happening is during the wintertime, okay, the weather keeps the mites that's on their skin and fur, and all dogs have mites, whether you like it or not. Mama dogs will pass it to the puppies when they're nursing, and that's how they promulgate. But all dogs have mites. There's not one that doesn't have it. So if you have a dog that has Demodex mange, okay, or certain type of mites, a lot of times what you're really dealing with is an immune system that has been suppressed. Remember, I said from the beginning that many people say that the dog's immune system starts in their gut. And I don't totally agree, but I also don't totally disagree. Okay. One of the things that happens when you feed a dog sugar, sugar is acidic. When you put it on the acid on the
pH
on the pH scale. Sorry. When you put it on the pH scale, rather than it being alkaline, it goes down. It's acidic.
Yeah.
This is important because when it gets to the gut, it creates an acidic in the intestines. It creates an acidic environment. This doesn't mean much to the layman, right?
It increases inflammation quite a bit, though, right?
It does, but one of the things that also does that contributes to that is it changes the biome in the intestine. Right. So, guys, look this up. I can't break it all down in one live, but there are gram-negative bacteria and gram-positive bacteria. Okay, just to give you an idea. Mm-hmm. So, when I'm just saying, for the most part, gram-positive bacteria are a lot easier to deal with. Okay, for the most part, there's always exceptions, than a gram-negative bacteria. Okay, and there's a tendency for gram-negatives to thrive in acidic environments.
That's one of the things that we learned that celery does. It actually it knows the difference in the two, and it feeds the healthy bacteria in your gut and then starves out the ones that are tied to like sugar addictions and cravings and things like that.
Correct. This is the reason why probiotics are so important for dogs, and people stress probiotics. And let me just say this, they're right. Not 100% of the time, maybe 50% of the time, but the other 50% doesn't really matter because probiotics are not going to cause negative allergies in your dog. What will cause negative allergies in your dog is if that microbiome in the intestine is overly acidic because of the amounts of sugars that you're feeding. These sugars, not only do they feed into allergies, they also feed into cancers and tumors. One of the best ways to nullify either cancers or tumors is to make sure that your body is alkaline. I'm not going to get into all that, but it's got a lot more with drinking water and having a microbiome in your intestine that isn't overly acidic. It's more on the alkaline side, okay? Just throwing that out there. So the reason I'm saying all this is because a bag of kibble, most bags of kibble, have over 45% of its content is carbohydrates. Not just carbohydrates, the really bad kind. Not sugar cane, processed sugar cane pulp, which means your dog is eating something that is truly not natural to it, if that makes any sense. And it is these sugars and this acidity that's going to cause inflammation inside of your animal. By the time you start seeing patches and loss of hair, you are going to run into a veterinary's office, and one of two things is going to happen. If you run into an unethical veterinarian, unethical veterinarians, they're human beings just like you and I. When they go to the restroom and they do number 2, they're going to use toilet paper just like you and I do. Just because they know more does not mean that they are above human condition. Okay. Some of them are greedy and they realize you don't know, you haven't educated yourself, and they're going to sit there and take advantage of you. And the way they're going to do it is, first of all, they're covered completely by their license, because they will always say, it is my veterinary recommendation. That's it. That's all they have to say. And that's his advice, his or her advice. Who's going to say otherwise? This is why it's important that you get two opinions on any one situation. That's the only way you could really balance them out. But what they'll do is they know full well that you're alerted because the dog has a big old patch in the middle of its back. So they're going to sell you this cream and this spray and this something else. They might even sell you some of that Hill Science diet they got on the shelf, knowing full well it's a bag of flour. You see, the industry unfortunately allows for maybe a person to take advantage of others. And what I mean by that is they know full well everything I just spoke to you about high sugary foods, the acidity within it, the change of microbiome, and the inflammation it causes in the dog. So it is up to that veterinarian to either be unethical and take advantage of you and sell you every single cream in the book before they solve your problem, or you're going to get a trustworthy, ethical vet that will tell you from the very get, we need to change the diet. Now, if they're pointing you to the Hill Science diet, what I want you to do is grab the bag, flip it over, and go ingredient by ingredient with the vet looking at you straight in the eyes and ask the vet, is this right here okay to give? Is this right here okay to give? Is this right here okay to give? Because more likely than not, when you do that, they realize that you're probably going to research what it is that you're giving your dog. And it is at that point when they're probably going to have to improve the advice that they're giving you. Isn't
it also true that even though it might say, 30% protein, 20% fat, that it also is that actual protein and fat content is even denatured further than that through the process of cooking the kibble. So they may have put 30% protein in this bag of kibble, but then when they cooked it and denatured it, it's actually got quite a bit less than that. So if you look at the percentages, like we're saying 45%, whatever, but that's with giving them the grace that you're actually getting 30% protein and 20% fat, when in all actuality it's probably half that,
Yeah. And then here's the other thing that I have found, and that is particularly with chicken kibble. Okay, the chicken fat, the way it's cooked, processed, in some cases, I believe I've read it said hydrogenated. I could be wrong, but I believe I read that somewhere. Leads people to think that their dogs truly have chicken allergies. It isn't only until a time later that they find us and they're like, hey, Raul, what can I feed my dog? My dog is full of allergies, and I really, really, tried just about everything. The vet got me on this, that. Nothing's working. Well, of course, he knows full well it's not going to work. It's just there to keep you on the hook, right? And then I tell them, okay, why don't you try this? Just feed them chicken quarter, Nuvet NuJoint DS, and water. But my dog's allergic to chicken. Have you ever fed it raw chicken? No, it's always been in the kit. Okay, feed it the raw chicken. I can tell you over 80% of the people that I remember of that made the switch were calling me or texting me within 4 or 5 days. Oh my God, he's not allergic to chicken. So,
allergic to real chicken.
If a dog is eating raw chicken and he or she is not allergic, yet you're giving it to them in kibble and it's showing allergies, what does that tell you about the processing of kibble?
It's bad,
right?
Terrible.
So that's where I'm trying to get at, not to mention the fact that vitamins get denatured, minerals as well. This is one reason why I keep talking about Nuvet NuJoint DS. Okay. Why is it? It is made at human food grade level, right? It's never been recalled, and it's giving your dogs exactly what they need every single time. If you're like, nah, we don't need no stinking Nuvet, we're just going to keep giving our dogs kibble. Okay. Keep this in mind, whether you like it or not. the longer the bag of kibble is on the shelf, the more vitamins A, E, D denature. So not only is and C in particular one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful vitamin your dog's getting. So not only are we cooking this at over 304 degrees because we got to get rid of all the moisture, we already know that at 170 degrees, vitamin C starts getting denatured big time. So what happens by the time it's at 340, right? Not just that. You could say, oh, well, Raul, they spray it afterwards. Okay, you can say that. But guess what? By the time they produce it, to the time it gets to the shelf and it gets bought, 2 or 3 months could pass. Every day, oxygen is touching vitamin C. It's oxidizing it. Don't believe me? You Google warriors out there, please go and make a truthful, credible man out of me. Go and look up vitamin C and does it oxidize with oxygen? I dare you, right? Because that's exactly what it does. And for every day that is there, what little vitamin C made it through the cooking process, it's going to get wiped out. And that's the reason why when people go with Nuvet NuJoint DS, it's within a matter of 7 days to 10 days, they're texting me talking about, oh my God, I didn't know. Yeah, no, I get it, man. You've been in the dark. I don't know everything. I just happen to have a flashlight. You're in the dark. So I flash a little bit. You think it's the greatest thing on earth. I get it. I'm with you. But there's a reason why I've been breeding for over 10 years. I'm not going to say how many dogs I got, but they're definitely more than a dozen. And they all get their Nuvet NuJoint DS every single day. There's a reason for it.
Yeah,
right?
We've been giving it here for years.
Yeah. Yeah. And has there been a time that somebody has written to me and said, my dog was allergic to Nuvet? Yes, it can happen. Dogs could be naturally allergic to anything that's in there. I get it. Percentage has been less than 1%. Okay. Not only this, the greatest part about Nuvet for me, it's 100% natural. That's it. That's the kicker. 100% natural. So let's see. Nadie says, why would folks eat McDonald's every day? I don't know, but they feed McDonald's via a bag of kibble every day to their dog. And then they want to know why their dog, usually when they're about 4 to 5 years old, that's when things start popping up. And you are emotionally invested in that dog. I don't care if you're one of these people that doesn't love dogs. If you love your daughter, you love your son, you love your wife, and they're in love with the dog. So guess what?
You're on the hook, and the vets are going to get you if they're not ethical, right?
Listen,
not to mention fertility. If you're even considering breeding a female, all those chicken byproducts, they're hurting everything for sure.
Well, you hit something on the head, man. Inflammation is going to be one of the main causes for pyometria. And what? Explain it to me. I'm gonna break it down. So inflammation is going to be it's going to be one of the main causes for pyometria. All right. It's also going to be one of the main causes for UTIs. Think about this for a minute. Remember, I said from the beginning, the gut is where health lies. I say 50% is true, 50% is not true. Here's the 50% that is. So, if the gut is acidic and you have inflammation, your immune system can be compromised. If you have a compromised immune system, you can end up getting UTIs. It's not outside of the realm of possibilities. If you're getting UTIs, so now you have bacteria in the urinary tract, making it all the way down to the tiny little wet drop at the tip of the vulva, just a tiny little drop there, right? Well, that tiny little drop hangs there while your dog's walking around doing whatever, collecting bacteria in the air naturally, or even on this dog's skin, staph infections there naturally. And somehow it starts colonizing that little tip because she happened to have that little drop there for 2 or 3 hours when it's usually only there for about 10 minutes. And next thing you know, it makes it inside of the vaginal tract. Now you got a major issue because now it's going to reproduce. It doesn't have to wiggle like a sperm to make it all the way to the uterus. That colony is just colonizing and spreading and spreading and spreading. When it gets to your to the dog's uterus,
Pyometria.
now you have yourself an infection. Pyometria. Metria means uterus. Pyo means pus or infection. Okay, infection in the uterus. Now you better hope you have an open cervix so all that garbage can be flushed out, once you go to the vet, if you have an ethical vet, which more than likely you will, because at that point, the whole flushing process is going to cost you an arm and a leg. But if it happens to close, not only is it going to cost you an arm and a leg, you're going to have to spay your female. There's no if and it's or buts about it. Otherwise, you run the risk of her dying. And forget about fertility. She's going to be sterile after that. Even if she makes it, she'll be sterile. So you might as well cut it out and get rid of it. Right? So this is what happens when you're emphasizing a food that is actually becoming the number one enemy to your dog. Especially if you have a female who you did a C-section on and she is beginning to get older. And when I mean older, I mean past 5 for American bullies, right? They're expected to be 10. So by the time your female's 6 and you're feeding her nothing but kibble and she's been spayed, prepare. Manuel says, should we be breeding dogs that are reliant on a raw diet? Manuel, I'm glad I clicked on this comment because to me, your question not only is a question like you're wanting an answer, it also seems like you're trying to make a point, right? So you're really barking up the wrong tree. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm not your average breeder, bro. I don't know everything. I'm not a veterinarian, but I am a nurse. And I have been breeding for about 10 years. So I'm going to tell you this, bro. Dogs are not meant to eat kibble, whether they're domesticated, whether they're on the street. I don't care. They weren't meant to eat kibble, period. If you want to sit there and make it seem like you have the perfect breed of dog because it doesn't break out because it's eating kibble, I want you to do this, right? I want you to start writing a journal. What day's today? October 20th? Every October 20th going forward. When your dog's about 8 to 10 or 12, depending what size of the breed, I want you to start writing to me what tumors and what started to pop up and where and why. That's what I want you to do.
It's just like with people, when you deal with kids, right? When a young person can get away with eating peanut butter and jelly and macaroni and cheese every day and they're like, I'm doing fine. I haven't gained any weight. I haven't, and then when you get older, it's not enough for you. And it'll start really affecting you.
Yeah. His question leads to a lot of comments. Manuel, if you're only asking for educational purposes, I do apologize. But if you are trying to make a point, I want to extinguish that because I see a lot of people online saying, why are you breeding American bullies? They're all full of allergies and this and that. Well, dogs weren't meant to be eating kibble. Tell you what, if you own a parakeet, feed it a steak. Let's see how long that's going to live. It's not meant for that. It's just the bottom line.
Are they really more allergenic than other breeds per se? Because I've got 5 adult bullies in the house here, and I don't have any allergies.
Listen, I don't have allergies per se. I don't. In fact, I just had a female, took pups right off of her. She looks like nothing ever happened, right? she's been eating cooked food. Rest of my dogs are eating raw. Some people do complain that their dogs have allergies. There may be dogs that are more susceptible than others, but truly, can you blame a breeder for a dog that's allergic to wheat? Like, come on, bro. Are you freaking serious?
Yeah, so really all dogs, from the wolves on down, it's better to have them on a raw diet or cooked food diet than any kind of kibble. 100%.
Bro, if you're feeding your dog, I feed my dog that $20 60-pound bag and first ingredient says corn and wheat. And you're going to say, oh, that breeder don't know what he's doing. My dog got allergies. Are you serious? Are you serious? Let me explain to you how powerful nutrition is for dogs. So, Mike, I already sold you.
I got a bag in here that's a big name. I won't put their name out, but
yeah.
I got a bag right here I could go get and read you the first 5 ingredients. It's very, it's terrible. It's terrible to even see.
Mike, look, let's say I sold you a dog. I already sold you a dog, but let's say I sold you a dog. You didn't know me from before. And you took this puppy home and somehow you got convinced that grain-free dog food is the best dog food to feed a dog, blah, 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 blah. And that's what you did, nonstop. And your dog is 6 months old and is walking around with dilated cardiomyopathy, or it's got a heart murmur. Didn't have it when you bought it because you had 72 hours to go get it tested by your vet, checked out, whatnot, got checked out. Everything was fine. By the time he's 6 months, he's got a heart murmur. And now you're thinking, I sold you a bad dog. And in reality, you could have caused a heart murmur.
Mm-hmm. See, I know what everybody doesn't know in this case. This is a true story. This actually happened.
Story. Yes.
Yeah, this actually happened where Raul sold a guy a dog. There was nothing wrong with the dog. Been cleared by the vet, health tested, the whole nine, and then developed a heart murmur in a short time later. And the guy came after Raul about it. And at the end of the day, Raul was able to reverse engineer it and show the guy, hey, this has actually been caused by you through the diet. And if you'll change this and change that, and then go back to the vet, and the vet tells you that we still have this problem, then we'll talk then. But I bet you can correct it. And then and the guy was able to actually listen to Raul and correct the issue, and it went away. Right? Am I right?
Right. And then what's crazy then, and I just told you that story. Then you have someone saying, should we be breeding dogs that are allergic? Hold up, bro. When was kibble natural to begin with? When are the ingredients the best or of highest quality? And even if they were, it's being put through an extruder, which is cooking it at 340 degrees. Is degenerating proteins, degenerating vitamins and minerals. If you don't comprehend that, then we can't even have this conversation. If you can't comprehend that the chicken fat that's being put through this extruder, it's not the same thing than the chicken fat I'm feeding from the chicken quarter to my dogs I'm buying over here in the store, then you can't have this conversation because you just, it's like trying to teach the internet to an ant. It's not going to understand. You see what I'm saying? So don't be fooled, guys. I understand some people have to feed kibble because you have to feed kibble because you live in New York City, Park Avenue, you live on the 178th floor, and in your 100 square foot little loft you got there, you don't have time to run them down and walk because if you did, elevator takes half hour just to get down. I get it. You work all day. Okay, I get that. But part of the allergy issues that your dogs have is inflammation. This is one reason why we talk about holistically doing coconut oil, turmeric, garlic. How many people, whenever I mention garlic on a short or on a live, all of a sudden are commenting like their hair is on fire that they shouldn't be feeding garlic to a dog. Think about it. So many people tell me, my vet says, of course, your vet doesn't want you to feed garlic to your dog. And let me make this statement clear. Garlic can kill your dog. It can. Garlic can also be very beneficial for your dog. Just like aspirin can help a human being. Aspirin Aspirin can and will certainly kill a human being. What, Raul, how can those two things be true? Guys, it really is not rocket science. If the bottle says take 2 aspirins for a headache and you take the whole bottle, in 3 days, you're not going to have a liver and you're probably going to die. So when we talk about feeding garlic to a dog, I'm not talking about feeding 13 cloves of garlic like they did when they did the study. I'm talking about we feed 1 clove of garlic per 100 pounds of dog. And in all credible sources, okay, that agree with this practice, I'm underfeeding. They actually feed more to a 100-pound dog.
And then you have to crush it and let the air get to it.
Correct. There's a process to it. Correct. You're absolutely right. There's alum that you want to convert into allicin, and the way you do it is you're either going to chop it or crush it, let it sit for 15 minutes, and then you give it to your dog. Okay, we've spoken of that.
Here's the thing too, Raul, just to add to this, and I don't ever hear you say this, but you've been giving garlic to every dog in your program for the last 10 years, every day. If that's not testimony enough that it's not harmful to your dogs, let's look at Fireball. Fireball's coming up on what, 9 years almost?
And Aruba, his sister.
And Aruba. And they're still act like puppies, barely show their age at all, if at all. Aruba maybe just barely. And been had garlic every day of their life.
The only health
can't be too bad for them.
The only health issue I've had with Aruba, she got a snake bite, I want to say 2 months ago, and she lost a toe. The snake just poured everything she had into that one toe. She lived through everything else. You know, she didn't die or nothing. Just she lost that one toe. That's it. Mm-hmm. And she's 9 years old. And if you ever look at my lives or look at my videos, she does whatever the hell she wants to do whenever she wants to do it.
Spoiled. That's all right. You can say it.
Yeah, she's spoiled, and so is Fireball. And I don't care.
Fireball still acts like a puppy, man. Sperm count still way up.
Over a billion. Over a billion at 8.5. So there's got to be something to it, bro. You know what I'm saying? There's got to be something to it. And here's the deal. A friend of mine said that he spoke to one of his parents and asked them, you know, what is the lesson I should learn from life? And his parent told him, there's nothing worse than not learning from a situation going forward. Okay. And I'm just paraphrasing. So what I'm trying to tell you is I've been breeding for 10 years. I've dealt with these scenarios, in particular, the first 3 to 4 years that I was breeding, until one day I slammed my head into the wall and I said, I'm a freaking idiot. Why am I listening to this vet talking about hill-sized diet? Why am I, dude, I have a certain degree of knowledge. It doesn't mean I am, you know, ever knowing or anything, but there's a certain degree of knowledge I have. And once I started researching, I started putting 2 and 2 together. And I started realizing, why are we feeding sugar to a carnivore, and wondering why they have inflammation. And the minute I went raw, everything changed. It was night and day. And this information that I'm passing over to all of you is what solved the issue in my yard. Now, if you want to sit there in your perch where you feel comfortable and say, my vet says garlic is bad for dogs and you're not going to move from there, more power to you. Okay. But if your dog is suffering from allergies and that vet's charging you thousands of dollars and you're still paying, that's a lesson you haven't wanted to learn from. And that's a lesson that you're just never going to learn. It's really that simple. I'm not trying to convince you to feed your dog raw or feed your dog garlic. All I'm saying is, look at my dogs. If your dog is suffering and I'm feeding garlic, I'm feeding raw, I'm feeding turmeric. What else am I feeding? I'm feeding Nuvet NuJoint DS. I had a dog that blew his ACL completely. My boy Power, may he rest in peace. For some reason, I apologize. My boy Power blew out his ACL, and when he blew out his ACL, the only thing I did was put him on chicken quarters, Nuvet NuJoint DS, and water. I also closed the door on his kennel, and he would only come out when I had him on a leash because I didn't want him running. Right? I had a bunch of females in heat, and I knew he was going to try and run. Next thing you know, within 4 months, he was at 95%. After a year and a half, you would have sworn that this dog did not have an ACL issue. Completely natural. It works. What would the vet have told me? Oh, he's got to have surgery. Got to have it. Does he have to have surgery? No.
I noticed a lot of health variations change in my dogs as in times when I've gone back and forth from raw to kibble. One of the main ones, American bullies on raw, they don't shed very much. They shed very little.
Correct.
But when they're on kibble, they shed a lot. Mine do. And then another thing that I noticed is the kibble dries out their guts really bad. They're so thirsty, you almost can't give them enough water. When I had my dogs on raw,
Right.
you know, it's almost like something's wrong because they don't ever want anything to drink. And and if they do get a drink, it's just a few little drinks and then they're good. But they're peeing and everything like normal, but they're just not drinking all this water. And it's kind of like, golly, had that same bowl of water down all day. They ain't finished it yet.
It's two different. It's amazing that you're bringing up that point. I love the fact you brought it up. So kibble has to be dried out completely so it could have shelf life. When it goes
really
into,
hard on their guts, man.
Yeah, when it gets to the gut, what it does is grab some kibble, pour it in a bowl, pour a glass of water, come back 15 minutes later, and watch it just puff up. That's what it does in the dog's gut. Exactly that. Whereas raw, 70% of it is water.
Mm-hmm.
This is why it also helps the dog with digestion, whereas kibble forces things a little bit more because it's sucking out all the moisture out of the dog.
I'll tell you another thing that was the biggest thing I noticed as well. So if my dogs eat kibble, say Pressure, for example, he's 114 pounds right now.
Right.
Well, he eats quite a bit of kibble in a portion, right? Like just about all my dog food bowl will hold. If I were to follow him around and scoop up everything that comes out of him in a day's time, it would weigh as much or more than the food that he ate. So if he eats a giant bowl of kibble, he'll poop 3 or 4 or 5 times in a day, and it'd be a pile, right? When I have him on raw, he'll eat that same mountain of food, as much as the bowl will hold of raw. And in an entire day, he might poop once, and you could mistake
Very
it for
little.
a cat poop or something. It's not very much in substance at all. It's very small amount, and maybe only one time a day. And that just is a testament to how much of it is waste in the kibble. He's pooping out whatever he eats in weight. And then with the raw, he's eating this huge bowl and pooping out this one little bitty movement. And it just shows how much of that is utilized by the body and what is being discarded afterwards. Very little.
Mike, I'm sorry to tell you this, but I need to go to the chat because we got people eating Nuvet NuJoint DS. Shaytree says, I've eaten Nuvet plus NuJoint DS. And she got called crazy, and she loves it. She's over here cracking up, taking it as a compliment. Adam Fields says, I ate a NuJoint. Never tried Nuvet. I think Hollywood has. Oh, Hollywood has. He still does.
Yeah.
JD says, when I can eat my pups' food and they can eat mine, that says enough for me. I'm not going to starve, and neither are my pups. Okay. So Shaytree says it tastes like vitamin C in chicken. Kyle says it's human grade cold press. There's a video of me eating it. So Kyle's just trying to make sure it's human grade so that you don't look at them kind of weird type of deal. And then Verde drops this question. He says, okay, I hear a lot of raw. So for the chat, and Raul, how often you guys are hitting your dogs with dewormer? Guys, here's what's crazy. I just dropped the video about dewormer this past week. We hit them every 30 days. The only time I'll do it sooner than that, and it was a time where I had a friend of mine that was a hunter, and he would get wild boar, and then, yeah, I'll probably do it every 2 weeks just to be on the safe side. But just, you know, feeding chicken and whatnot, we do it once a month. That's it. We're good. Yeah.
And use the garlic and the diatomaceous earth in between.
We use garlic, diatomaceous earth on a daily. Parentella palmoid is what we use as a dewormer. We dewormed our pups, just deworm mama. Pups are off of mama. That's it. We're good. Every 30 days, we drop it on them. That's it. It's that simple. Shay says these dogs barely have allergies if fed right. It's just the topic we're talking about. Exactly. And it's important because, look, a lot of people that own dogs don't understand what's going on. Today, I had a gentleman come over here to my home. We're getting some stuff done, and he didn't understand why his Yorkie, for example, whenever he let it out, would like to run under things and whatnot. And I had to break down to him, it's a Yorkshire Terrier. That terrier part, that's why he's doing what he's doing, right? Some people own Frenchies, and they don't understand that the way you got the bulldog, and the closer you get to bulldogs, the more allergies you're going to have. It's because back in the days, right? They grabbed mastiffs and inbred the living daylights out of them, shrunk them in size all the way to where the tail is just nothing but a little nub. And there you have it. So whatever allergies, right, that a mastiff might have had, maybe a slight allergy to something, when you start inbreeding and inbreeding and inbreeding and inbreeding and inbreeding that over and over and over again, you start exaggerating these things. And that's why English bulldogs are notorious for allergies, skin conditions, bad smells. And sometimes it's just
heart issues. All that.
Sometimes it's ignorance of the owner. And I'm not trying to reduce the owner or make them feel bad or anything, but truly sometimes it's just ignorance. I've come across people that have hit me up that own English bulldogs that don't know that you must go into every wrinkle they got on the face and clean it daily. If you don't, that's where bacteria and yeast are going to grow. So that's why we have these discussions. Let's see here. I'm jumping around. Adam Fields, Raul, just done a video on deworming, Bertie. He just dropped it. I love it, man. Bertie says, not going to lie, Shay, I might try the detox soup. Let me tell you, y'all cracking up, man, but I've taken the detox soup, man. Papaya seeds and all. It'll detox the living daylights out of you, man. Shaytree says dogs only have 7 feet of intestine. Nutrition is vital. Shaytree sounding like a QB enter. That's right, QB Nation. Number love. Let's see. Nadine says, nope, I live in NYC and I work 12-hour shifts. I understand that. That's why I gave the scenario I did. I'm able to feed my pups a raw diet and supplements as needed. No excuse for NYC. Look at Nadine's taking it 3 steps further. There you go, man. Listen, Nadine's, listen. I know the NYC is home to the worst football team right now in the NFL, which are the Jets, but the Giants are giving you a little hope, man. And you're giving hope too, man. So keep it up, Nadine's. Nothing but love, man.
Look, here's the thing about that whole deal. I mean, he spoke to it right there. But look, wherever you're at in the country or the world, and let's say you do have a little more of that excuse than even he has, right? You can spice your dog's diet up a little bit here and there, right?
Yeah.
Even if you're on a budget, even if whatever, you can still cook up some chicken. You can still, cook up some hamburger meat. You can still do these things at least on occasion to keep your dog from eating that kibble day in, day out, year in, year out. Try to give it some good food every now and then. Spice it up, put a few green beans and some carrot, some good real protein from real meat at least. Yeah, thank you, Kyle.
I'm having a ball with it. Hey, how good is your Italian accent? Because Navy says, hey, what's going on here? I always give my pups garlic. They're more Italian than me. Hey, I like it, man. I like it.
Yeah.
Verdi Bullies over. Oh, how's the puppies doing? I seen the litter the other day on the backyard outside time. Looked amazing. Thank you, Verdi. We got a little something going on, a little construction going on. Once we get that done, pups are going out there, and in a week or so, you guys are going to be pupped out because we're going to be dropping a lot of puppy content. All right. So thanks for bringing up Verdi's. Juliana Colombo, I'm an NYC too and do raw raw diet with supplements. I will eat ramen myself before feeding her bad due to budget issues. Julianne Colombo, nothing but love and nothing but props for you. It's all a matter as to how much you prioritize your dog, how much time you want to put into their health. If you just want to feed them a bag of kibble to get rid of them, then you may be dealing with allergies. You feed them raw, you're going to notice that 90% of the allergies are gone.
It's been a while now, but my wife and I broke it down to the penny about what it takes, and it's if I remember correctly, I think it's between $2.55 to $1 more, depending on how you go about what meat you use and whatnot. But it's around $3 or less per dog per day if you feed it raw. With just a little bit of vegetables, a little bit of fruit, protein, and then and you add the Nuvet and the NuJoint Plus in there. It's even with the supplements, it's like $4 or less a day per dog. So you think about that. If you throw that against the price of kibble, say 35-pound bag for $45, $50.
It makes no sense.
It makes no sense. It's really, if it's $60 more a month, to let your dog eat way better. Even if it's $100 more a month, it's not that much, man. We're talking about $25 a week difference.
Actually, Mike, in my neck of the woods, and I've done videos on this.
Yeah,
I actually save money. I can literally feed my dogs more. Yeah, feeding them raw, than feeding them a bag of kibble.
What would it be? So we figured it was $2.55 a day, just for the food.
So do this math real quick. So let me see. I got my little board here. Hold on a second. Let me grab my little handy dandy board and let me run you some numbers.
Yep. $2.55 a day per dog.
So over here in my neck of the woods, right? In my neck of the woods,
it's not more expensive. It's just more work to prep.
I get a 10-pound bag of chicken quarters for $4.50. You can't beat this, man, because it's coming out to 45 cents a pound, right? That's 45 cents a pound. Now, this is not the only thing I feed. Obviously, I feed Nuvet, all right? But guys, keep in mind, Nuvet up there, right, is, let's say it's $55, but that's a 90-day supply. That's a 90-day supply. So we're talking about pennies on the dollar just for Nuvet alone. If you go ahead and do a NuJoint, you're looking at roughly about $1 a day. So think about this. Say since I'm feeding raw, you're only feeding 5% of your dog's body weight, right? So let's say a 100-pound dog, right? 100-pound dog is supposed to eat 5 pounds, right? If I'm trying to raise his weight. In reality, if I'm trying to maintain him, he's going to eat 3 pounds, right? So 3 pounds, we're going to say Nuvet plus NuJoint, right, is going to be
$1.
$1. 3 pounds, we set 45 cents a pound. It's $1.35. So hold on, $1.35. So far we're looking.
You add in like a piece of a carrot and a few green beans.
Yes.
Looking at another 25, 50 cents maybe.
Veg, yeah, let's say 30 cents at most, right? So you're looking at $2.75 for a 100-pound dog.
And that's with the supplements.
So what happens if you have a 50-pound dog? Basically $2.75 divided by 2, right? Because we're doing 100. So you're looking at $1.35 for a 50-pound dog.
Yeah.
Huh?
So let's so now we're at 100-pound dog. We're at $2.75. So what is it for kibble?
For kibble, okay.
Excellent. On average.
Excellent. Let's look it up on purpose, and I'm glad you brought that up. So let me go on the screen because this is on the fly, and I'm going to look up the serving recommendations. Okay. So let me look up, say, just off the top of my head,
say Victor Pro Plus or something.
Victor Pro Plus. I was going in that direction. Victor Pro Plus feeding recommendation, right? Recommendation for dogs, right? Okay. So check this out. This is where
I can see your screen if you want us to.
Yeah, just a minute. I'll bring it up here in just a moment. Let me just boom. There we go. All right. So Victor Pro Plus, right? Recommended feeding, right, is 30 pounds, 2 cups, right? So if I had a 50-pound dog, I'm going to add 30 plus 20 here. You're looking at 3.5 cups.
So it's going to be 7 cups for a 100-pound dog.
That'd be 7 cups for a 100-pound dog. So let's find. So this is Victor High Pro Plus. Let's look at the price and let's look at how many pounds the bag is. So, all right. So 50-pound bag gives you $1.59 a pound, right? That's what this says. I'm not making it up. It's right here, right? A 40-pound bag, so you pay more the smaller the bag, and you pay less the bigger the bag. So let's go with a 50-pound bag. So we just said 7 cups, right?
Yeah.
So let me come back on the screen and let's do the numbers here. So $1.59 a pound. So check this out. So let me take this off real quick so we can. There you go. So check this out. So Victor High Pro Plus, right, says $1.59 for 1 pound of kibble, right? Can you see that?
Yeah.
I'm going to go full screen here, Mike. I'm going to move you out for just a minute. All right. So we're saying $1.50. Let me move the mic over. So it's $1.59 per pound. We just did the math and we said we need 7 cups. 1 cup, right? 1 cup equals 8 ounces. We know 1 pound equals 16 ounces, right? So we know that in order to feed that 100-pound dog, we're going to need 3 pounds plus 1 cup, right?
Yeah.
Because we did the math and it came out to 7 cups, right? Based on their formula. So let's do the math, right? In reality, all we got to do is multiply that 159 to 7. That's really what you had to do from the get. And let's get the numbers. Bring up my calculator here. 159 times 7, and that's $11.13. Did I do something wrong? If I did something wrong, I'm gonna go to the comments. If I did something wrong, show me. But I think I just showed you why it is that.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
What it is that's 7 cups, but it was 159 per pound, and it would be 3. How many pounds was it? It wasn't 7 pounds.
3 pounds and 1 cup
and 1/2 pound, which is
Okay.
8 ounces.
Okay, you're right. I did the multiplication wrong. You're right.
Yeah. So it'd be 3.5 pounds, which is 159 times 3.5.
3.5. That's where I was wrong. So let's do the math. Let's do the math together. That's where I lost it. All right. Lost myself there. So we got $1.59 times 3.5. And I feel like I'm in elementary school. We're going to move over, right? So we got a little, all right. So 3 goes into 15.5. 3 goes into 9.3. So it's $5.30 to feed
a
100-pound dog with kibble. And I can do it for less than $3 while I'm feeding Nuvet NuJoint DS. How do you like them apples?
Yeah, that's what my wife and I we did it the same thing. A little, time was a little different then. We got it. I thought it was 355, but that's 375. $275. You think about that. So ideally, now this is the other element to it, is prep time. But if you'll go ahead and spend the money, you'll save it in the first year having your dogs. But if you'll spend the money, save the money on a grinder, and get you a good grinder that grinds up bird bones. The Weston is the one that Raul likes. It actually has a warranty on it that warranties grinding up bird bones, turkey and chicken bones. So so you can, it's covered if you have any issues, but has no problem grinding up bird bones. And I think the best one you can buy that won't bog down the whole thing, it's like $800. But if you're going to have dogs year in, year out, you're going to wind up winning at the end of the day, and it cuts your prep time down. And you could get one for $400 or $500 and do just fine. A cheaper grinder for the bones and things like that. You could even get a hand grinder for probably $150. But at the end of the day, cut your prep time down quite a bit. Or you can prep a week's worth of meals in maybe an hour and a half.
Even grinding, I grind for my puppies. Any pup that's 4.5 months or less. Once they're past 4.5 months, let me tell you how fast I feed my dogs. You wouldn't believe this. So we have 6 kennels. We have 7 with the rescue. We have 3 kennels we're currently not using. So we're talking about 7 kennels. So I'll open up 2 bags, two 10-pound chicken quarter bags, right? And I'll go ahead and throw in there, right? Let's say I throw 2 chicken quarters into each particular cage. That's a total of 14 chicken quarters. Literally, it's open, throw, right? I have another bucket, which is where I'll either have papaya, I could have sweet potato, I could have potatoes, depending what I'm doing. Could be green beans, could be carrots, etc. Sometimes you've even seen me go back there with the atomic soup, right? And we'll pour that into their tray and literally walk back out. I could feed all 7 of those kennels in less than 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
When I'm not recording and I'm just doing my thing like I normally do, the minute I open the door, they all know to walk all the way to the back. I throw the 2 pieces of chicken. I throw the, whatever else I have going on to complement their barf diet. We throw it in there. I do that. And then once I'm done doing all that, then I'll come back and I go Nuvet NuJoint DS, each dog. Literally, the whole process takes less than 5 minutes for me. The whole process. It's just boom, 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 boom,
So
boom.
now, look, folks, broke it down to the penny for y'all. And so no matter what anybody else tells you about how it's too expensive to feed raw, it's actually cheaper.
It's
so you
cheaper.
got no excuse.
Yeah, it's cheaper, it's better. Of course, your vet is against it. Of course, if I was a vet, I'd probably be against it too.
So now we're going to have all these people transitioning to raw. So you better tell them what it takes to transition from kibble to raw. It is a little bit of a process to get their stomachs prepared for the raw diet as opposed to the kibble.
Yes, what you do is you reduce 10% kibble and you add 10% raw, but you also have to be giving probiotics. Okay, one of the easiest, cheapest that you can get out there is kefir, sour cream. I like to mix it now. Now I'm mixing the kefir with sauerkraut. I'm testing that out, and I'm letting it sit for a day on purpose so the probiotics could promulgate and all that. And the reason you want to do all this so you don't have explosive diarrhea, and also for the dog to consume as much of this goodness that it can. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, there's one little twist that is very important. And that is that the majority of the hormones, the majority of the chemicals that are put into animals, in particular chicken, okay, ends up either on the skin or in the liver. If you are feeding beef liver and you're feeding chicken liver, like the kind you just buy at the grocery store, you're also feeding growth hormones. You're also feeding antibiotics and anything else they put into the animal, into your dog. Okay, so what would beef liver do? Well, on that extra growth hormone that's in there, read up what extra growth hormones does to a dog that starts to enter its maturity age. It could actually cause tumors and cancer. And I'm not trying to scare anyone, but that's what it can do. Okay, the way we sidestep it is Nuvet NuJoint DS. That's completely sidestepped. Okay, I don't have to worry about, what am I feeding my dogs? No, it's already been. First of all, the chicken that they're getting is not with growth hormone or none of that. And secondary to that, the way that is processed, it makes it most viable to the dog. So bioavailability is the secret that this product has over any other out there. And a lot of you heard me a year or two ago talking about this brand and that brand. I had to stop. And you know why I had to stop? I had to stop because I was getting cease and desist letters. Okay, one brand was putting, look it up. This is not Raul making it up. Okay, one brand is putting cellulose into what they're feeding. And if you look up what truly the type of cellulose that they're putting in there, it's nothing more than sawdust. Okay. And of course, these multi-billion-dollar companies, I'm not about to be stupid enough to not continue speaking. But the reason they shut me up really quick is because what I was saying is true and it was costing them money. Mm-hmm. That's just a fact. And if you don't believe me, let me know. If I get a comment here, I'll be more than happy to show you the cease and desist letter. It's not an issue for me. Just keeping it real with you. Inserata says, I need to try chicken on the half of my dogs that are fine with chicken. Juliana says, Kyle, thanks for backing up the suggestion. I for sure am going to be looking into green tripe. Thanks, Kyle and Nay. Yes.
Back to, who was the comment before that? Who was it that said that?
Oh, Inserata.
Yeah, Inserata. If you're having issues out of chicken, and I learned this from Raul years back, you know, a lot of times, like he said, it's in the skin. So most of the time they'll be all right with it raw. If before I say, oh, chicken doesn't work for my dogs, I'd pull the skin and just give them the chicken with no skin. And I'd say out of the percentage of dogs that are affected by the chicken, I'd say 60% of those, if not 70%, is when you pull the skin, then the problem goes away.
Yeah, it's the stuff that they're putting into them. Is that natural for dogs? Is it natural for dogs to be allergic to chicken? Well, let's dig a little deeper. What are they putting into the chicken? Because if it's growth hormones, if it's steroids, is that natural to be giving to a dog? No. So that's why they would show allergies. You see what I'm saying? Nadine says, I got you. I give my pup sauerkraut as a probiotic, coconut yogurt. Yeah, coconut yogurt's another one as a probiotic and a prebiotic. Actually, believe it or not, Nuvet has prebiotic, by the way, just in case if you didn't know it. It's got prebiotic in it. The coconut yogurt is amazing. Okay, I've been giving it to my boy, Blueberry and Sunshine. So, guys, luckily for me, I have enough dogs I could experiment and do things with all the time. And I just start documenting what I see on day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, so on and so forth. And then I'm able to pass the information on to you, which is what we've been doing here since day 1.
We also learned that the sauerkraut, you can get sauerkraut off the shelf, but you can also get it in the refrigerator section. And
yes.
And the sauerkraut that's in the refrigerator has a stronger culture. It has more living enzymes in it than the one on the shelf.
Correct. But what I'm doing now, Mike, and it's like, again, you got a million things in your head. Sometimes you second guess yourself, but you grab sauerkraut. I've done it in the past. You grab sauerkraut and you mix half of it with sour cream, right? But now I'm doing it with kefir because kefir, you could just pour it. You don't have to sit there and scoop it and all that. Anyways, literally leave it out. Open the lid and leave it out for a good 2-3 hours. And then go ahead and close it. And then you can thank me. Because what's going to happen is that probiotic is going to start, along with what the sauerkraut has, all those probiotics are going to start colonizing and becoming even stronger. More in number, better yet. Not stronger, but more quantity. And that's how you're able to flip that acidity in your dog's probiome.
Just set it out on the counter with the lid off.
Yeah, for 2 or 3 hours, just let it sit there. Let it promulgate a little bit. Only because if you stick it right back into the fridge we all know is at cooler temperatures, which makes the reproduction of it just a little bit less. So you let it promulgate for 2 or 3 hours. It's not going to go bad. Go ahead and shut it, throw it back up in there and watch what happens. So, guys, that's all I got for y'all tonight. Let me bring in Hollywood, Holland, all the way from the true South.
The deep South.
The deep South, which is, he claims the deep South is south of I-10.
59.
I-10.
No, it's I-10.
I-10. So, Kyle, what was going on in the comments, man? I saw you there being very vibrant, talking about how you take Nuvet NuJoint. Go ahead and tell people why you take Nuvet, man. It's all right. Let them know.
It helps in many ways, man. It's human food grade, so you can take it as just like your dogs. That's why I give it to them.
Well, it's not made for humans, but it is made of human food grade. Let's just make that clear.
Oh, no, it's not made for humans. Don't try this at home.
I can already see it one of these days. A grandpa, I'm 80 years old. I took Nuvet, and guess what? I was walking around like I haven't done in years. It just wouldn't surprise me, man. So, hey, lead us off, Hollywood.
It's your boy Hollywood Holland. Your boy in the back of the queue. We're catching you on the next one.
All right,
Oh,
Michael
boom.
Higginson.
I gotta get my screen right first. Hey, it's Michael Higginson, Creekbank, Carolina, Arkansas. Your co-host with the most. Man, really enjoyed y'all tonight. We'll be catching y'all on the next one.
All right. Man, how come I don't get those types of sound effects and whatnot, man? It's all good, man. Oh, there you go. There you go. Anyways, guys, listen, you already know we do this every Monday at 8 p.m. If you have friends that are watching our shorts, can you please let them know, even if they're not your friends, if they're new viewers and you happen to watch a short and they're asking questions like, how do you do this? How do you do that? Can you remind them that I can't answer all the questions. You drop 5 shorts in a day and they get so many views and so you just don't have the time. But that's why we make the time here every Monday at 8 p.m. Go ahead and invite them. Make them part of the family. Either way, spin roll for the queue. I'll be catching you on the next one.
We are going for a whole hour, straight dog talk and the song. Jump on in and speculate, show up on time.